Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a rather important subject matter, which is adding employees or teammates to your team or company. So I've been in hiring and firing and assessing and doing that for decades now, and nothing is more important to a new teammate than getting confirmation from within that they've made the right decision by selecting you and your company. Meaning, the first 2 to 3 weeks, you have to be extremely deliberate in the process of starting that teammate and rolling everything out correctly so the teammate feels engaged, appreciated, and that excitement from starting a new role is allowed to grow into some success in that role. So there's 5 ways to welcome a new employee at your company that I think you need to stand out with. One is a new employee welcome email. That seems pretty simple, but as your employee starts or your teammate starts the position, that welcome email should have several opportunities for them to find resources, contact names and numbers, specific things that they know or that you know is going to come up for them in the first few weeks as becoming a new teammate. So I'll say this: at some of the larger companies, the enrollment or onboarding enrollment process is a massive undergoing, which means some of the resources that your teammates are going to need, they're not going to get for the first 6 weeks. I mean, it literally takes that long for things to turn around and come back through, which is kind of hard to believe in a world of e-verify that we live in currently today, that that's still the case. But what that employee needs is to feel like someone's hearing their concerns and listening to their concerns as they get started. So we're going to hit that point in a few minutes. But first is a new employee welcome email that has 10 to 12 components to it, from valuable resources, where to find those resources on the internet or on the company website, how to reach out for help, what you prefer as their leader that they do, and reach out for help, and then a schedule of one-on-ones when you plan to contact them throughout the first week, first 2 weeks, first month, and first 90 days of their employment. The idea is that should be planned and scheduled. That way the teammate will feel, if they do get to the point that they're overwhelmed, you can help assist with that, and you can help get them a mentor to walk through specific key parts of their onboarding process. So that's very important. New employee welcome email that has consistency, has content to it that's of value. The next is a new hire checklist. So the next step from that welcome email will be a new hire checklist for each role. So in the role at your company, you may have 10, 12 different roles, 20 or 30 different roles, whatever that may be. Each role should have a definition of the role, an explanation of the role, the expectations around the role, and the way you check on those expectations. That new hire checklist should have all that. So once they get through onboarding, and I'm not talking about their identification and those type things, the full application, etc., that you put in there, but a new hire checklist these are the things you're going to do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. The first 4 weeks should be lined out almost to the hour. So if they work 40 hours, all those hours should be documented on that training protocol, and they should go through that new hire checklist week by week. And at the end of the week, it should be reviewed by their manager or by their leader to see how their progress is moving. Monitored progress and monitored review of the expectations is the best way to set someone up for success and the best way for them to understand what's coming down the pipe for them in that role. Number 3 is the employee training and the onboarding itself. So the onboarding and this new hire checklist, those things should allow the teammate to know, I start on this day, I start at this time, I have these things that I'm going to be doing. This person is going to be my trainer, my mentor. I'm going to meet with them day 2 after I meet with my boss on day 1 for onboarding, going through all that. So employee training and the expectations around that training are part 3. Part 4 is feedback and focus group meetings. So as his teammate is migrating through this process and graduating through these different levels as a new employee, there should be constant and consistent feedback, not to be overly critical or to be doing massive corrections in personality, etc. It's more around feedback on how they're understanding the process and how they're moving through the processes. All business processes should be documented and supported. Basically, if you look at the franchise model, if you go from one location to another location, it doesn't matter where you are in the world or where you are in the state or what state you're in, etc. The processes should all be the same. McDonald's and fast food restaurants are the ones that call it the most in the franchise industry because The business itself is replicated across all these different domains, right? And so wherever the brick and mortar lays, the expectation is the processes that are going on in there are the exact same processes going on in Ray Kroc's original store. That should be the thought process around that. The feedback is just to support them in the process, answer any questions that may be apparent and clear to tenured employees, but to a new employee, they've got to learn that at some point. And then focus group meetings around that is just to make sure that each person has buy-in around this employee's success. And so everyone on the team should be able to give them feedback on those things and correct them and give them resources as necessary. And the fifth one is the bi-monthly one-on-ones with their manager, with their leader. That is the time where you go into the feedback on the actual training progress, and you may be a little critical on this or that. And you may, what I always try to say is give 3 good with 1 bad, right? So as you're going through that process, you're telling them, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is going really well. I like what you're doing here. You know, that's great. These people that worked with you on this day think you have great attention to detail, great customer care, etc. And then maybe the bad would be something like, we'll detail your sales notes a little bit better, so we know exactly what we have to do. That way, if the customer calls in and you're not here, someone can take care of that by looking at your notes and better serve that customer. So those are 5 ways that you can make a new employee fit for your company. Now, I'll go into this a little bit further. Insurance companies are one that I hear a lot of complaints from on people that are starting up. And the biggest issue there is there's no continuity of effort. Each person that comes on, they get this wide email from some member of the upline that has all these things constantly. It doesn't have a plan. It doesn't say whatever else. I think to do that successfully, an upline person should reach out to the person and say, hey, you need to be on this call, and this call this week, and then we'll follow up with you on Thursday or Friday, and we'll discuss what this, and this are. And it should be a scheduled thought process for the first 90 days. I think in the insurance business or insurance industry specifically, there's a huge miss there because, one, a majority of the folks are getting paid off commission. And so people are afraid to give people who are paid off commission directives around you have to participate in this, you have to do that. Look, if somebody is starting on a commission structure and they need to get the money quick, meaning you need to do all you can in a graduated process movement where they can move to some money fairly fast. And maybe they don't make money week 1, but there should be some options to make money week 2, and you should be helping them get to that point in the process. So that's just a bit about these 5 ways to welcome an employee to your company. There's a lot of different ways, a lot of red tape. In the beginning, you want to move as much as that as possible to make people feel at home, to make them feel welcome, and make them feel appreciated out of the gate. Day 1, that person is excited about accepting a position with your company. The question is, on day 7, day 14, day 21, are they going to feel the same way? You have to be deliberate in how you handle those processes to make sure that's the case. Good luck. Be good.